Hey, Mick from Sydney, Australia. Just want to quickly go over the medicinal uses of Australian-made eucalyptus oil, native to Australia. I'll firstly touch with my grandfather. He was an immigrant, migrated from Czechoslovakia back in 1937, and the first 10 years of his life in Australia he lived in Oberon and helped to manufacture eucalyptus oil. In those days you got paid very, very well for doing that. It was very labour intense, and I have an article from an Oberon local newspaper that shows my grandfather, which is right there with his funky hat and suit on, and the little shed that he lived in for 10 years while working the eucalyptus field. I won't read the whole thing, but it basically says that eucalyptus oil is a generic name for distilled oil from the leaf of eucalyptus, a genus of the plant family Myrtaceae, if that's how you pronounce it, which is native to Australia but is now cultivated worldwide. There are about 20 oil factories scattered through Isabella, Arkstone, Mount David and Barraga. Many foreigners were employed as property hands on farms, and many of them worked in the oil factories. The oil making process was labour intense. First, the leaf had to be harvested and mulched and placed in a sealed pressure processing vat. Water was then pumped into the vat, and the vat was then heated by an opening fire to build up the pressure. The residue from the vat would be collected via a pipe which ran into a cold pond or stream, and the oil would separate from the water and rise to the surface. This was the pure eucalyptus oil which was collected and placed into 44-gallon drums. The drums were collected by a local carrier, John Musker Sr. John would pay the holder, for the oil and transport it to Sydney markets for retail. So, I'm not going to bore you with that, guys, but yeah, look, my grandfather came from Czechoslovakia, 1937, worked and lived at Oberon for 10 years, didn't see his family for 10 years, made his money, and came back to Sydney and bought his house and grew up his family. And I can just imagine, I've got 2 kids, and for me not to see my kids grow up till the age of 10 would break my heart, but that's what the guys did back in the old days. So my grandfather, pioneer of Australia with eucalyptus oil. So there you go. Alright, so just some quick medicinal purposes of eucalyptus oil. Again, it is native to Australia. It was an old Aboriginal remedy. It's used worldwide in pills, liquids, inhalers, salves and ointments. The internal uses relieve symptoms of cold, flu, chest congestion, sore throats, bronchitis and pneumonia. Externally, which is probably more widespread use, it's an antiseptic, it's antibacterial, it's used to relieve symptoms of burns, sores, ulcers, scrapes, boils, wounds. It's also used as an insect repellent, more so for mozzies. When rubbed into the chest, it alleviates coughs or chest infections. When put on a rag, or in my case I take this in my bag, so I put it on my bandana, use it as an inhaler to clear your nose passages. And I think I've shown in the previous video that this can be used to extend a fire on a cotton wool ball and to help spark a fire because of its flammable ingredients or content. So mate, eucalyptus oil, you can buy it in any chemist in Australia. I think it retails about $3 or $4, I can't remember. But worthwhile getting. I take this in my bag everywhere. I'm going to put it right in. It was in one of my other bags, but now I'm going to put it into my main hunting pack or camping pack. So yeah, that's going to stay with me. I've actually got the flu right now, so I might dab some onto a hanky and clear this nose. Just a bit of caution: if you're pregnant, it's not wise to use eucalyptus oil. I don't know why, but it's just not wise to use it. And if you do have kidney or liver problems, it's not wise to use too much eucalyptus oil. Now, I'm guessing that's more internal use. I'm not a doctor, don't take my word for it, but if you do have kidney or liver problems, yeah, it's not wise to use too much of this. So yeah, fellas, so hopefully you've learned something from that. It's just another natural product you can bring in your pack, costs nothing, and you know, instead of popping pills and whatnot, you can just use a natural ingredient to alleviate those annoying little symptoms that we all get from a flu, or burns, or stings, or whatnot. So, so that's it, guys. So go out and get yourself some Yuki oil. Cheers.